We'll return to Star Trek following these messages.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
What I do today is what I've always wanted to do since I was a child. But what I didn't want to do was things that would be less stimulating, things that seemed more average or like, oh, I don't want to have to draw commercial content. Well, that's a great way to toughen yourself up, to get better as a draftsman, so that you've prepared yourself to be usable for the artistic marketplace that exists, and then maybe you can work yourself into a position where you can do the stuff that you specifically have a passion for.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Hi, welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another Trek Watch here on the Word Balloon Network. And good to see you. We've got a full boat today. I thought we were only going to have three of us. I thought Wayne was on assignment at the Supernatural Convention here in Rosemont, Illinois. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But it's good to see Wayne, good to see Mitch, good to see Franco. And we are here to not only talk about the latest Strange New Worlds episode, Terrarium, but we are also going to give Franco a chance. Here's Terrarium, everybody. The Gorn and Ortegas, big meeting. And we'll talk about its odd similarities to some very well-known, not only Star Trek episodes, but even a pretty famous sci-fi movie. But first, I wanted to give Franco a chance to talk about 4.5 Falcons, because we didn't get his opinion on that episode from last week. So, Franco, what'd you think?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I was okay with parts of it, but I didn't like it overall. I thought the acting was really cheesy, honestly, on the part of some of these guys. And honestly, it made me think that I don't know what this iteration of Star Trek is trying to be. Because, to me, it's more a sci-fi show than a comedy show, and there's room for comedy in some of it, but this just didn't work for me. It just didn't work on a whole lot of levels for me in terms of, I thought some of the comedy fell flat. I thought some of the science fiction rather fell flat. I didn't care for the episode really at all. And I know I'm adding to the controversy because I heard last week I missed some stuff that I haven't watched the episode, and I don't think I want to with you guys on it. But
no, it's the usual bullshit. You're not missing anything. It's cool.
Yeah. So I just I don't know, the whole thing with the four of them, and then La'an being different from the rest, and then I did notice it. Didn't they talk about the Khan as well because of her heritage and stuff like that? So that confused me. Like I'm not sure where Khan stands in all of this stuff. Like, because again, in the original series, like Spock doesn't mention anything. Oh, you're Khan. Oh, I used to I used to dance with someone you knew, or
Susie. Here, I'm going to do Susie Amin. I used to say Hitler, but here I'll give another a cruel dictator. Susie Stalin. Everybody, I think I knew somebody with that name. I don't know, but no, in the first season, La'an has that scene. I think it was with number one, where she says, "Hey, I was always picked on because I'm a descendant of Khans." So it kind of was that, at least. And of course, they had the time travel Toronto episode where we saw, that the Romulans supposedly pushed the timeline forward, and we had Lana countering Khan as a child in that weird.
I don't have a problem with Lon being in the show and being a descendant of Khan. Honestly, that never really bothered me. The fact that she was picked on and stuff like that. What bothers me is that they make no acknowledgement of it. In the original series, which is this timeline's future. So I don't know. Some of the I don't know. It just doesn't gel. Some of the timeline doesn't gel. The storyline doesn't gel for me, and I'm really finding myself struggling to is this a real Star Trek show or not? I don't know, but maybe the new episode has some clues, but we'll talk about that later, I guess.
Do you guys have any questions for Francis about 4.5 Vulcans? Nope. Okay, fair. Well, everybody spoke their piece last week. That's cool. And
watch the show to see what they said, but yeah.
Well, whatever. But regardless, mentioning where something falls into canon very much plays into this week's episode, Terrarium. And we have there's Otegas and the Gorn, and of course everyone I know. Well, here, gentlemen, I'll let one of you do the toss up. What science fiction film comes to mind with this episode?
Aren't there a couple? But isn't Luke Gossett Jr. and
mine? Yeah.
Enemy Mine. Well, even before that, though, I was asking Wayne. Do you guys know a World War II movie that is even earlier than Enemy Mine that basically has the two enemies on a remote area that have to work together to survive? No? Okay. Little movie called Hell in the Pacific, everybody. 1968. Great John Borman directed film. Toshiro Mifune and Lee Marvin. Excellent movie. I can't recommend it enough. And also, I looked up. Did I bring up?
I know a little fun fact about that. Do you want to?
Sure.
So, I think they hired the director hired 2 scriptwriters for that movie, and
for Hell in the Pacific.
One, if I'm thinking of the correct movie, one was a scriptwriter from Japan, and the other one was a scriptwriter from the United States, basically. And one wrote the all of Lee Marvin's part, and the other one wrote all the Japanese actors' part. And then they said the words, but they didn't know what they were saying to each other. So that if you watched it in Japan, you would get a whole different movie than if you watched it in the United States. So I thought that
I also know that for that movie, they had 2 endings, depending on which copy you got, because one ends kind of ambiguously with no resolution, and the other is a little more definitive of how it ends. But it's a great movie. It's on the Internet Archive. And again, I absolutely recommend it. Also, prior to Enemy Mine coming out, it was originally a short story, and here's the cover of the Isaac Asimov magazine that it was in 79. So, and of course, I'm sure we all agree. Fred has seen Hell in the Pacific. It is a great flick. Once again, Internet Archive has at least one of the endings on there, and I was very happy to see it. If I didn't put this up, Don says Wayne is partying with a lampshade on his head. There you go. So
I have another movie I was thinking of.
Please.
It's not quite the same, but Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Love that. Sure. I mean, initially, although, well, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's not direct, but it was just something similar.
Culture. Yeah. It's certainly different cultures and trying to figure out how to survive and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. I forget who the lead was. Of course, Adam West is like in the first 10 minutes and then dies.
Yeah. And then he becomes rocks.
Yeah. The Robinson Crusoe guy kind of dreams that Adam is still around and he's not. So, listen, I will say, visually, I thought there were a lot of impressive things in this episode. Visually,
Yeah, especially the crane shots of the ship with the planet behind it. I was like, ooh, those were kind of cool. One was on a slant and the other one was kind of like craning down. I'm like, oh, those were interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, not at all. And also, I thought again, I mean, technically it always looks good, but I've got my nitpicks. And also, listen, two aliens trying to figure out how to work together that start off bad guys or to each other and then work together. Not only the 4 other times that it's happened on Star Trek after Arena, but also, Stargate had an episode like this. It's a classic sci-fi trope. The question is, are you doing anything different with it? And I'm sorry, I don't think they did much different with this, other than we have a female in both the protagonist and the antagonist. So we have a female Gorn and we got Ortegas. And I thought Melissa's the actress that plays Ortegas, she did a great job with what she was given. But I do think this story kind of falls down. And do we want to name check as I go through the pictures of former Trek episodes that come to mind? Any thoughts? No, I'm happy.
It's
Damak
when the walls fell.
Yeah.
Arena.
Yeah.
What else? What do I got in my list? Galileo 7 is in there.
Yes, well, certainly the resolution is Galileo 7, but again, I think done poorly. And there's also where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, that's Enemy Mine. Did I put up? Oh, here it is. TNG, the Enemy. When Geordi and the Romulan are stuck on the world and they have to work together and stuff, which is a great episode. There's also Enterprise, and it was called Dawn. Sorry guys, this did nothing new for this story, and it did not add in a positive way, in my opinion, to Arena. So I gave it 2 out of 4. Because again, I thought visually looked great. The use of the volume wall, the big giant AI or whatever LED wall to make it look like a 3-dimensional set and everything, excellently used. Again, from a production standpoint, this show is great. I just wish the writing and direction was better. I don't even blame the actors. I blame the writing and the direction, because they're the ones ultimately making the choices of, no, do it this way. And of course, the writing itself. I mean, I saw an interview with the writer who's very proud that he lifted Enemy Mine. And it's like, again, you got it. I think Darmok did do something different than Enemy Mine. I do think that the Enemy did something different than Enemy Mine. This, I guess, did, but all right, round the horn. Franco, stars out of 4.
I don't know. I'd say maybe 2 out of 4. The first thing that came to mind was that, the Gorn, Kirk, episode. I'm like, this is directly kind of lifted from that. I know that there were other Star Trek ones that you guys mentioned, or that you mentioned that were 2 opposite people put in this situation, but I don't know. This one just seemed like a really blatant, lift from the original series again, where you're putting this character in the situation, and then the ending was all really wonky to me. I don't know. I just didn't feel this episode either. It was okay going into it, but then
We'll get to the conclusion. Mitch, general thoughts on the episode?
Well, I stopped comparing it to the original show because the timelines never make sense. So on its own, as its own thing, I'll give it a 3 out of 4, because Ortegas, who's not one of my favorite characters, I don't like the character. I don't like the I fly the ship nonsense. But you had a character who had an experience with the Gorn, had a violent experience, had PTSD. So I thought that was a good idea to have somebody who's basically, still shell-shocked. She kept having those visions all the time of the Gorn. They kept flashing that throughout the season. So the fact that she's stuck in that nightmare with it, I said, well, that's, of all the characters on the show that you're going to put in that situation, that makes the most sense, because she's the one that has a habitual fear of this creature. And I did think it was unusual they didn't talk about Pike's girlfriend. I didn't think she'd come in, because I thought they were going to do some kind of weird Gorns inside of her manifesting itself, and somehow she reaches out to it. And I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. But no, on its own, of course, at the end when what's the alien race with the begins with an M?
Metreon.
Metrons. Yeah, Metrons.
Metrons.
Yeah, when they showed up, I was like, because as soon as everything froze, I was like, oh,
Mhm.
what's going on? Was it a simulation? Was she just going into like a holodeck psychiatrist type of thing, or was it Spock doing a mind meld trying to help her work through the PTSD? So I thought none of it had happened, and it was all like a dream. But then I was like, well, why was Pike and horror and everybody looking for it? So then that quickly disappeared in my head. But then when that happened, I was like, oh, geez, they're really ripping off the original series. And then there was one line the alien says, you're not going to, it doesn't, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't go back and watch, but something like, you're not going to remember any of this.
We
So
we may alter your perception of the Gorn. I wrote it down.
Correct.
Yeah, but what happened? So she has no memory of the.
No, she remembers. She remembers
Metrons?
being. She remembers being with the Gorn. She does not remember the Metrons.
Nope.
Right.
And also we may have to change your perception. And said not only her, but I'm assuming all of Earth or Starfleet or whatever.
Right.
And again, we'll get into that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was like, what's going to happen?
Finish.
Yeah, no. I was like, so what did that mean? So that one line, I was like, oh shit, what's happening now?
Well,
and then when she went back, and then she had the little chess piece or whatever you want to call it.
The Gorn game piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And you knew they were going to kill it, as soon as it popped out behind her. I was like, I could see that coming a mile away. But I didn't hear her go on about, oh, well, no, they were my buddy and they helped me out. And maybe they did it in a off-camera type of thing. But
Well,
I don't know. I thought Uhura was good. I liked that character. I liked how she cheated to get her point across so they'll try the rescue mission. And then Pike tells her, oh, by the way, I know you fudged the numbers just to help your buddy out there. I thought that was kind of cool, but yeah.
Wayne?
Yeah. Again, like I said, I've divorced myself of Star Trek, all of it, and just looked at the episode on its own. To me, this was a nice Ortegas episode with her dealing with her PTSD. I know, again, you go through it, you've seen this over and over again, but at least it was nice to see that, how she got over it. Also, I like the fact that she started to go through her Star Trek training. What do I need to survive? I need water and I need food. And it was that order, because you need water first before you need food.
Sure.
And she figured out the way to make water from the condensation, and then she looked for food.
Mhm.
So, and I thought that was really good that she went back to her Starfleet training, how she overcame her PTSD from the Gorn, that it is two species that really don't understand each other. Just like the Metron said, you're two barbaric species, and they are two barbaric species in the Metron's eyes. So it's kind of interesting. I thought it was interesting. And again, I watched it and I had flashbacks to Enemy Mine and a bunch of the other episodes, but I thought there was a lot more growth to Ortega's character in this episode than there has been in a lot of the other in the series so far, that this allowed her to have some voice. And I think we were even joking about it, that we saw the PTSD at the beginning of the season, and we were joking, this will never get resolved. And it kind of got resolved.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this one,
we thought that her building the motorcycles. Go ahead, Wayne. Excuse me. Scientific what?
Yeah. We thought I gotta say, there's some scientific timey-wimey stuff that was going on. And I'm going, wow, you guys are really stretching the limits on wormholes and everything. The ability to to actually transport while you're inside the worm. I just going, wow, you guys have really pushed the limits. But then I said, you know what? That's something Scotty would do. Scotty would figure out a way that when you're inside the wormhole, I'll figure out a way to get the transporters to work. Because you're looking at it, you're going, And I like the fact that she set the planet on fire, because that is so like her character.
The whole thing, mind you.
Yeah. Forgive me, Wayne. And I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
How much oxygen are you going to have left if you
Nothing.
set the entire, thank you.
Yeah.
And guys, I'm sorry, but it's those kind of little science things where I'm like, that makes no sense. And I'm sorry, I know we're watching a fake show, but that doesn't matter. There has to be a thread of credibility. And of course, that's where, as Mitch said, the Galileo 7 comes to mind. All he did was light the shuttlecraft's fuel on fire to be seen. And if they had made a flare of some sort that can be seen without light, they always go too far. That every one of their things, it's like back to the Metrons. The Metrons did not need to be in this episode at all. And again, much like 4.5 Vulcans, those writers and directors and producers must be wrenching their backs the way they contort themselves. Well, it's you see now with the Metrons here, and because they're presenting themselves, well, now it's still Arena makes sense, right? Well, no, Arena made sense the first time, and you all made this choice to make it the Gorn, and that's fine. But we don't need, someday we might change your perception of the Gorn. Give me a break. Give me a break. Hacky, ham-fisted, crappy writing.
Well, also,
it's that simple, boys.
The Metrons, like, how long does this take? Like, this is only a few years between those episodes, and they're like, oh, wait, have you guys changed that much that we'll do it again now? Like, I don't understand that.
I even went back to Arena, and I don't know if you guys remember, but when the Metrons, the original Metron, Sandy Duncan here, shows up, the point is, before we see them on the planet, the Metron, if you remember, Starfleet has established a colony on this planet. They didn't know it was Gorn territory. The Gorn start attacking the hell out of the planet. Fantastic battle stuff in that episode in Act 1. And then the Metrons make themselves known to the Enterprise, and assumingly the Gorn ship as well, and go, hey, you guys are too barbaric, and if we let this escalate, this is going to get out of hand. Gorn Captain, Kirk, you're going to this planet, you're going to face each other, and we'll see what happens with the winner. This episode that we are watching, and I understand and respect, Wayne, you saying, continuity, schmontinuity, and same with you, Mitch. But that said, they bend over backwards like, oh, no, we can make these puzzle pieces fit. They can't. They don't. And for them to go through and, again, include the Metron in this thing, he is a dick, or they, because I believe it was presented as being both male and female, they're a dick. Because they are purposely putting Ortegas and the Gorn into this conflict, and Arena makes no sense. They just discovered this fight in Arena in the original series, and that again, that doesn't make sense.
That's why I'm having I think I would enjoy this whole thing, all of Strange New World a lot more if they weren't so intent on making this, these pieces fit together. Why can't they get, new storylines, original storylines happening? Why do they keep trying to pull these pieces to make them fit into the original series? It just makes no sense to me. The PTSD thing, I thought she got over it way too quick.
Thank you. I agree.
Maybe she had to. She was in a, this situation, so she had to keep her wits about her and try and get over it faster. Maybe I can let that one go. But again, the torching the entire world to be seen was,
Well, I thought they were going to die anyway. I figured it was like the last ditch attempt. There was no rescue coming, and they were like, this is it.
Well, the one thing I do like, the one thing I did like about the episode is when because you knew the Gorn was going to die. Because they're not going to take the Gorn on, they said being captured is like worse than a death sentence and all this other stuff. So I thought that maybe the Gorn was going to sacrifice itself for Ortegas or something like that. The fact that La'an shot the Gorn was like, oh, that was kind of bold and interesting. I liked that ending because it made you think you felt for the Gorn because it's Ortegas' friend now and everything.
Sure.
La'an is her friend, and how's that going to play out? But
and it would have been better instead of the hug out that we got with Uhura and Ortegas. It would have been better to have a scene. And again, forgive me for rewriting, but La'an, what the hell were you doing? What do you mean what I was doing? That's the enemy. I killed the enemy. La'an, you don't understand. You don't understand what I just experienced. And just to put a small seed of doubt, and really, forgive me, Mitch, but I think if anybody should have been left on a planet with a Gorn, and I understand that she's going through the PSD, I think it's La'an, because again, her backstory, she's been traumatized by the Gorn since day one. But I really, and also, I'm sorry, Uhura's insubordination of fudging the numbers and stuff, and Pike going, "Oh, that's okay, that's okay." It's like, well, it's an unnecessary scene. And again, it just shows more insubordination running rampant on Pike's Enterprise.
Oh, they've been insubordinate all along. Scotty sabotaged the Excelsior in Star Trek 3 for the search for Spock.
Mitch,
and Kirk,
Mitch, that's later.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Kirk, Kobayashi Maru, Kirk never played by the rules from day one. Well, everybody on that ship is fudging their jobs. Everybody.
Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a whole crew of liars and cheats. But to talk about the continuity not matching up, now here's a perfect example for you. And there's another show that actually did a Enemy Mine episode, Galactica 1980, with the best episode they ever did.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Mitch. I forgot to.
Marooned on the
with
planet,
the Cylon.
With the Cylon.
Yes,
kept calling him
great
Psy,
episode.
and they hung out, and that's what happened to Starbuck.
Excellent episode. Go ahead.
Battlestar Galactica, the original show that I watched all of them. I was a big fan, read all the comics and stuff. Then it went one season, 22 episodes, I think. Then Galactica 1980 came. That was not a great show, but they rewrote that. Then Battlestar Galactica, or just Galactica with Ron Moore doing it.
The reboot. Yeah, the reboot.
Yeah, the reboot. I'm actually thinking this Strange New Worlds is kind of going down that path where it's like it is similar to what you remember, but they're doing their own thing. And no, they have not come out and say it. Because even Galactica, I didn't understand what was going on in the first episode because they had the Cylons from the old show there, but they had phones like, landline phones. And I was like, what's happening? And then they explained the whole computer thing. And I was like, what's happening? So that threw me for a loop. And that's the confusion I think a lot of people still have with Strange New Worlds is you're anchored so much like, I don't understand how this fits into the other shows. And I don't think it's supposed to at this point. I think they've given up. And it's not.
I think differently. I think differently, Mitch. I think that if they had come out from the very beginning and said, this has nothing to do with the original stuff, I'd be okay with that. I'd be writing this show every single week.
Sure.
I'd be still upset about, the 4.5 Vulcans episode a little bit, but I'd be writing this show every week with it. Mm-hmm. But that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're trying to fit these pieces of a puzzle into the old show that don't fit. And every time I watch it, yes, maybe a younger viewer who has not seen the original series can go with this.
Yes.
But then what happens when they get to the original series? Are they just never going to watch that? You can't say that it's not part of the continuity because it is. Yeah. That's Kirk on the Enterprise that's showing up last week in 4.5 Vulcans, and he's meeting Scotty, and he goes, "Hey, we're drinking buddies. We can be friends." Fast forward to the original series, they're on the same ship.
And Scotty's older. And Scotty's older in the original series, and now he's younger in this series.
Kirk introduced him to Scotch, and he's been drinking a lot.
Yeah, how does the Scotsman get introduced to Scotch by the non-Scotsman?
No, but maybe
he
did.
Break.
He's been hitting a little hard, which is why he's older in the original series now. But
he's got liver disease.
Yeah, exactly, Ken Dog. A square peg in a round hole situation is what.
Ever since Discovery, man, when they had Spock's sister, and we were like, "What sister?" And I'm like, "It's been out the window since Discovery." I really think so.
But again, they beat their chest. Oh no, this is canon, and they are trying to fix things that didn't need to be fixed, and that's why, please God, no, do not let these people do Star Trek Year One. I don't know if you've seen that headline, Franco.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, I disagree, Mitch. And actually, I'll tell you something I learned this week that gives me a modicum of potential. Perhaps our long nightmare might end with Secret Hideout whenever their contract is up. But I'll get to that in a second. This episode would have been fine given the status quo of the Gorn. They didn't need the Metrons, and when they bring in the Metrons, I'm sorry, they're trying to tell you, oh, no, this fits with Arena. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. And it was so unnecessary. And also, I felt that the time that the Gorn and Ortegas were on that planet, and the fact that you got a little bit of time dilation when Lon and that away team was beaming back, and suddenly everything slowed down and stopped. We should have gotten some sort of, and especially given that it was a wormhole and it was a different dimension or whatever it was, that maybe time passed slow or faster on the planet with Ortegas and the Gorn, because I think it would have made it better, and you would have bought that, oh, I guess we are friends now and we are trying to help each other. And also, she's going to teach her chess? Really? Really? Like, I could see checkers and it just, do something to pass the time. But also, it kind of like flew in the face of, we got to get off this planet because we're surrounded by this gas giant that's going to fuck everything up. Pardon me. Sorry, F-bomb. But it's like, again, it's like you're not thinking about your own show. And I really, the wormhole being open and they're able to transport through the wormhole. Someone made the allusion to relics. And it was with the Dyson sphere and Scotty's ship holding the door open and stuff so they could fly through. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. And even wormhole, okay, they're halfway through the wormhole so they can kind of hear better and see better and transport. Fine. I'm okay. Pseudoscience, I'm okay with that. But again, too many asks. And again, the Metron completely unnecessary. Here are some comments from the Peanut Gallery, everybody. Don says, sounds like this episode was at least an attempt at straight sci-fi without a gimmick, musical or animation one-off. Thomas says, the last episode was shockingly bad. The writing is a disaster, and the acting was totally awful. I hated the constant explanation for what she was doing as it happened. Yeah, her and hashtag not my track, fine, whatever. But I didn't mind her talking to herself and figuring everything out. And then some people made allusions to The Martian. And how Matt Damon is by himself. I get it. Fine. You're by yourself and, you're going nuts. And also, like Wayne said, what do I need? What do I need to do? All right, let me figure this out. So honestly, I think Melissa did a good job given the script that she was given. But again, just too many story plot holes for my taste. And that's why it's like visually, it looked really cool. Execution, once again, the trying to fit it into canon, but also the other things about the episode that I've mentioned. It's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, they were on a time crunch. That wormhole was closing, and you were told it's hours. It's happening in hours. She's trying to get off the planet. Not only does she teach the other person chess, which takes a while, the Gorn teaches her game.
Yeah, and Gorn Dungeons and Dragons, based on if there were dice.
Get off this planet,
maybe it was like an Interstellar thing. They just didn't get to that point. What Interstellar, when they land on that planet, every minute was like a year for the guy.
Yeah, but
back in the because of the black hole's gravity.
They got to spell that out, Mitch. Forgive me, but they got to spell that out. For it to be plausible, and that's why they introduced it at the end with the Metrons, and it's like, man, all you have to do is when you go back to the Enterprise and see what they're doing to try and rescue them. I don't know, Uhura. It's been weeks. And have Ortega say personal log. It's been 3 days or whatever it's been. But yeah, I thought it was cute that Gorn is teaching her a game and she's teaching the Gorn a game. But yeah, it's like, checkers would have been just fine. No, it's got to be chess. And her going, no, the knight only moves this way. Agree and disagree. That's all we got.
I wouldn't have a problem with that if they had explained some of if there was a time discrepancy, but there wasn't. The time on the planet was passing at the same time as it was on the Enterprise, unless the Metron slowed it down. But the Metron didn't say that they slowed it down. None of that is given from someone who writes scripts and stuff like that. That's crap that you need to have in there for the audience to understand it. And there wasn't any of that.
No,
for me.
Agreed. Honestly, all right, we got one more episode of Pain left, and hopefully it'll be good. Every week I hope for the best, and at least this was okay, and that's why I gave it 2. But with all these problems, and guys, 9 episodes. And I've said nice things, nice-ish things, and I'll admit maybe not the greatest things, but out of 9 episodes, 4 of them, I'm like, all right, it was okay, whatever. And again, doesn't have to satisfy me, whatever. I'm not the arbiter of good or bad, just giving my opinion. But I'm sorry, I am, as John Oliver would say, "Are you not entertained?" I am not. I am not entertained. I am disappointed, and they just don't. They don't seem to get it. And like Franco said earlier and stuff, this show, I don't know what this show is beyond parody and let's have fun with other genres and things. That's fine, but then it's not real. It's not. I don't mean real Star Trek, but it's not really trying to do something dramatically. And when they try to do things, these other gimmick episodes, I think, pull it down from being taken seriously, in my opinion.
But then that line, that we may alter your perception of the Gorn really bothered me too. Because like, is that them trying to fix continuity, like with what they look like? Because they did that with Worf in Deep Space Nine, right? Was it or Enterprise or Star Trek?
Remind us.
When they go back and they see the original episode when they're there with the Klingons
with the tribbles, they got the smooth, they got the non-ridge.
Right,
that's DS9.
It's that Deep Space Nine. So like, we don't like to talk about that period in our history.
Yeah.
That alludes to something. I believe that's within the continuity, right?
Well, and then they went in Enterprise and showed that Data's creator's ancestor was working with the augments, and that the Klingons stole that science to make smooth Klingons with augment blood, however they did it. But
Absolutely.
it wasn't a syringe to the neck, and 30 seconds later, my ridges are gone.
My point here is that because we're not talking about the older, we're talking about this episode with the Gorn and that line specifically. That episode of Deep Space Nine, Worf, as a story point to the audience, makes a reference to it and says, "We don't like to talk about it." And all it was is that one line, and you're like, "Okay, I'm back in. I'm following this along." There was none of that here. Like, that line, does that allude to what Kirk is going to find on that planet later when none of these people have ever seen a Gorn before? Because that's in continuity. But now in this continuity, or same continuity, every single person on the Enterprise has seen what a Gorn looks like.
All of Starfleet was at war with the Gorn because of the season 2 cliffhanger in the first episode back. We're at war. I mean, that's where it doesn't make sense. Go ahead, Wayno.
Wasn't there a Gorn skeleton in Lorca's ready room?
Yes, there is. And that was another problem when Discovery was happening. That, and he had the tribble on his desk as well, next to his bowl of dirty fortune cookies. Because you imagine everyone's just putting their hand in.
Maybe he brought that from his universe. Maybe he brought them, but that was never explained or touched upon. No member of his crew ever came in and said, "Hey, what's that? Is that a Gorn? Like, I don't know what a Gorn looks like. Is that a tribble? What's that? I don't know what that." Nobody ever said that. They were just there.
They were just there. But also, no, I wondered the same thing, Franco, about that line from the Metron that we may have to change your perception. Is that to justify the guy in the rubber lizard suit? What's his name, Wayne? You met the guy. You gave us.
Bobby Clark.
Bobby Clark. Okay. Yeah. Again, it's like they just try way too hard to see it fits, and it's like no, it doesn't fit. I don't know how to break it to you. And it's funny. Wayne said this last week, Franco, how this era of Trek will be regarded 10 years from now. I honestly don't know. I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, and we'll see. But I don't think it will be as highly regarded as now. People are like, oh, Deep Space Nine was really, really great. Even Enterprise is getting a second look of, something. Yeah, it still had its flaws, but it was certainly better than what I realized when I was watching it and disappointed then. And I'm not saying me. I was, the only thing with Enterprise was they were trying too hard to make it Next Generation again. And just like Voyager was trying too hard, despite them being in the Delta Quadrant to make Next Generation again.
When Deep Space Nine started, I was like, oh man, they're really going to try and do Love Boat in space. That's what I thought it was going to be, but it really turned out to be one of my favorite, Treks series. Yeah.
Here, more comments from the Peanut Gallery. Mario says it would have been better if Enterprise is left due to thousands of people needing a vaccine and writing off Ortegas and coming back to her next season. Maybe. But that's the other thing. And it's fine because people are like, oh, once again, there's a planet that needs vaccines and there's a time crunch there. Okay. I mean, it's a familiar territory. That's fine. It really wasn't crucial. Again, they could have tried harder and come up with a different reason why they had to be at a planet. Someone I saw one real fast. I was going to say one show that I saw that didn't like the episode. They're like, it felt like AI generated this story because it is like a little bit of Galileo 7, a little bit of Dharma, a little bit of Arena, and it's like a little bit of Enemy Mine, and it's like I saw the interview with the guy that wrote it, and he's very proud of it, as well he should be, I suppose. And like you guys said, hey, if you've never seen Star Trek before, great. This is an interesting episode. Fine. And if you never saw Enemy Mine, even more so. But even the people that liked it obviously made the Enemy Mine reference. So there you go. There's more comments if you want to hear them here.
Yeah.
Doc Civil. So this episode wasn't titled The Gorn Identity? Amazing we're straight on their part. Let's see. Don says, please, Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne, light that bulb so you have an idea. Like, I have an idea. Wait, do it.
Wayne's got a
A little
thought.
higher, a little higher.
Whoa! Wow,
got
we're being interrogated.
I feel like I'm Negan all of a sudden.
Strange New World should get the Enterprise finale. Oh, make it all a hologram. Wow. Yeah, these are the voyages. Yeah. I know. Man, I'm sure I talked to you guys about that before. It was Chase Masterson used to have a live internet show, and she had Brandon Braga on after that last episode. And they read like email after email of like, yeah, way to short shrift the Enterprise cast, making it a next gen holodeck simulation.
Yep.
Yeah, that was bad. My suspicion, and especially now that the Metrons can give the Jedi mind trick, and that two things come to mind. Either again, because also, the resolution of the first episode of this season was that, the Gorn are being put to sleep. I mean, is that it now for the Gorn? Are we done with the Gorn? Are we not going to get the Gorn?
Except for the one that's inside of her that hatches soon.
Right. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Batel. Yeah, Batel's either got to die or have it like spring from her chest like Alien or whatever. So we'll see. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's what's going to happen next week. But the other thing two things I'm expecting: a Metron to come, and you'll not remember any of this. And the other one is the Office of Temporal Investigations coming back and telling La'an, you don't belong here. You're a time aberration. We didn't realize it. And that way Spock can forget that he was doinking Susie Stalin.
Also, is Section 12? What do they do exactly? Because they were mentioned, right?
Yeah, I caught that. Well, then that's fine. Whatever. Maybe that's something they'll build on next year. That's like Starbase 80 in Lower Decks. Oh, Starbase 80. Whoa, hey, whoa. And then we found it. And it's like, okay, fine. So maybe there'll be something with that. I did like the name check of the Constellation and Captain Decker. Doomsday that was cool. That's all right. I'm okay with that. So anyway, there you go, boyos. Any other thoughts on the episode?
No, I think I was thoroughly.
We've stomped on it enough. I understand.
Like I said, I've divorced myself of all Trek knowledge and look at this as hey, it's a cool little story. And that's it. Because that's the only way. If you start applying everything you know about Star Trek to this, your head will be like scanners at the end of the day.
This is also my criticism of every show that does a prequel, because we already know what happens in the future to these guys. We know where they're going to wind up and what they're going to do. They're doing a prequel of Dexter, which I think they canceled already, right?
They canceled it.
Look, that guy's going to be a homicidal maniac in the future. This is how we started. But, I don't know. Even Better Call Saul kind of bothered me a little bit.
I understand. No, I understand. Well, and again, if you're going to do a trope or you're going to do that, you got to do it well. I mean, we know there are prequel Star Wars fans that grew up with the prequels first and they love them. Okay, that's fine. Again, if you know the history and everything, and again, the old stuff is not only sitting on Paramount Plus, it's on MeTV 6 nights a week. And I'm sorry, I would think if you're a Strange New Worlds fan, you're at the very least checking out Next Gen or Deep Space Nine. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe not. It's almost 40 years old, that show. I really don't know. But it just seems to me that, the only people that I would think really, really are into this are like you and Mitch, where you don't care, Wayne, and I respect that.
And
or that again, this is their first Star Trek, so it's all new to them.
And I can say, being at the Supernatural convention, I've talked a little bit of Star Trek with some of the people, and they're liking this reiteration of Star Trek because they are. Some of them have watched the old series, and they consider of all the Trek, DS9's the best. And what they just said, they just love it because it's just something different, something new, and it's. Well, I know we're not seeing anything new because we can, hey, this trope, that trope. Look, you're trying to fit this round peg in this square hole. It doesn't make sense. It's all crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Jerry, everything's crazy.
Worlds are colliding, Jerry. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, worlds colliding. Can't happen. But no, it's just, I don't know. The people I've met, either at Star Trek Vegas, and like I said, if they're younger than me, they love it. There was a couple of guys my age and older that hated it in Vegas that I was hanging around with.
Yeah.
Here, I was still one of the elder statesmen in the little group I was hanging around with.
Sure.
And the younger people, they loved it. So I think this could just be something like it appeals to them because it's like a teen drama.
Yeah, of course.
It could be like a Buffy.
Yeah.
Let's say a Buffy. It could be something like that it wasn't really, we're not the target audience. And this is a bunch of little bit of science fiction. Hey, look at the sparkly things. And let's slap on the word Star Trek onto it. And this is what they think Star Trek is. I can't explain why they like it. They just said they really thought it was fun. They're enjoying the series. I can't take away their enjoyment.
No
I can't say, well, no. Oh, yeah, no. And I can't say, well, this is against this part, this, and that. I'm going, you know what? You're having fun. Enjoy it. What I love doing at this convention was I love stirring the shit with a bunch of people because I said, you know what? The first 5 seasons of Supernatural are perfect, and after that, it's crap because it's a hit and miss on each of the seasons. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of the episodes really stand out. A lot of the season doesn't. But I said, if you look from a story arc point of view, in Supernatural, from season 1 to season 5, it was a perfect arc of character growth and what happens, and a finale. And then they realize, hey, we can squeeze some more stuff out of this. I honestly don't think they should have gone to 15 because there are some real dog seasons and dog episodes. But within those dog seasons, you actually had some cool little ideas, like the Scooby-Doo episode was hilarious. But trying to reel it back to Trek, it is just, again, this is my personal belief. I don't think it's written for us. I think it's just written for a different generation that likes their stories told in a certain way, and that continuity, it doesn't matter. Story plot, you don't have to explain everything to me. Just show me that something that's interesting, and that's it. It doesn't have to go from A to B. It just show me something interesting that I can get some enjoyment out of it. And I think it's the writing is different than it was in the past.
Yeah.
And I think it's just comics, perfect example, the deconstruction of storylines, where you used to use 1 or maybe 2 issues to tell a story, you're now using 6.
Right.
So the whole concept of writing in comics has totally changed over the decades, from the ability to tell like an 8-page story, which was back in the 50s, to now we're using 6 issues to tell a story. So over time, the storytelling aspect has changed. I think right now with Star Trek, or anything that any type of entertainment that we're consuming, it's a different storytelling. They're doing it different than what we ingested over the past when we were watching it
Yeah.
when it first came out.
So
So
why divide an audience, Wayne?
I don't know, honestly.
Well, but that
who
should,
knows?
but wouldn't you say that should be in the minds of the producers that while you're hold on,
Oh yeah,
while
yeah,
you are,
no.
if I may,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
let you talk. Let me
Yeah.
explain that as opposed to, hey, we got to get this new audience. Well, you got a fan base that has been around on Monday, 59 years, boys. 59 years. There's a reason why we still talk about Star Trek for 59 years, and we don't talk about Space Above and Beyond and some of the other shows that were of their moment. And that's why, again, they made this choice. Further, I just want to point this out before I forget. I was talking to Matt Fraction on Wednesday. He knows the new guy that is in charge of Skydance Paramount. Apparently, I don't remember the guy's name, but this guy, as Matt was just telling me, because he knows I'm a Star Trek fan, this guy has waited his whole career to have say in how Star Trek is done. With that in mind, my suspicion is either they Secret Hideout might get an extension, but under editorial control in a way that Paramount didn't care before, or thanks a lot for your 8 years, guys. There's the door. See you later. It'll be 10 years if they go to 27 with Academy's second season. We'll see. But my suspicion is the new owners of Paramount, Skydance, recognize that they've lost a significant part of their audience. Not everybody. I know they have a new portion of the audience, but it does seem to me that there is less. And I can only assume that from the frustration that I've seen up and down, not only older people, but younger people as well that have their issues with new Star Trek. Done. As far as that goes. Don wants to know if it's possible that budgetary constraints stop them from getting good enough writers. I don't think so. I think they are hiring. A lot of times shows are hired when someone is running a show, they get their buddies that have been on shows with them in the past. And so, no, I don't think it's a matter of money. I could be wrong. I should ask some of the people that I know that write for Star Trek compared. But again, the other thing, too, is, Wayne, as you say, they're not writing that kind of, forgive me for the generalization if I'm wrong, but they're not kind of writing that science fiction anymore. Well, the Expanse Foundation, and really, Wayne, I'm a knucklehead when it comes to Foundation. I'm aware of Asimov and the books. I'm aware of the series. I don't know how faithful it is. I don't know how heady the science fiction ideas they put in Foundation are. I just know that there's a very simplistic point of view when it comes to new Star Trek.
I disagree with what the person was asking. Not disagree, but
about the writers.
Yeah, to put a point on it. How do you explain Prodigy? I know that Prodigy didn't do well, and they canceled it, but damn, that was some good writing, and and that was Star Trek in the present, or within the timeline.
Right.
Why can't we get more of that?
And get that in live action Star Trek, because I completely agree with you.
Right, because I think the reason that it didn't do as well is because they wound up putting that on Nickelodeon, and it wasn't really geared or marketed towards an adult audience. But I bet you if we had Prodigy in live action, that would have been a lot better than what we're getting from Discovery or from Strange New Worlds nowadays.
Completely agree. I said that last week. I'm like, if they want to hire from within, and everyone obviously loves Terry Matalas and what he did with Picard season 3, but get the Hagmans and their taste to run just like they ran Prodigy. Let them run a live action show. I trust those guys. They hired my buddies Julie and Shauna Benson, and they wrote good Star Trek Prodigy. The Bridges, a couple that is currently doing the Star Trek Voyager IDW comic, they were consultants on Prodigy as well. Another thing too is with forgive me, back to this episode Terrarium. It seems like 2 weeks in a row the science consultant. It must have been these must have been written during her vacation. I know it's a woman that is the science advisor. And a friend told me that, and actually I want to bring up a quote that they made regarding canon and everything. But they said they had heard the science advisor say when it came to Lower Decks and Prodigy, the writers of those shows would come to her and say, we're thinking about doing X. Tell us what science we need to make this make sense. And if our ideas are too outlandish, let us know that way. Apparently, she gives her thoughts to the live action stuff, but they really don't consult her from the ground up. So I imagine some of her knowledge is not even called upon. I don't know what other way to describe it, but yeah, it's disappointing. And again, I respect the idea that they're writing for a younger audience, and even JJ said, "Oh, Star Trek was always too cerebral. That's why I couldn't get into it." Sorry, that's Star Trek. Again, don't take the Star Trek out of Star Trek, please. We got plenty of CW shows. I again, and I think you can do a level of romance and personal drama because I think the other shows have had personal drama. We had Odo and Kira. We had Worf trying to fit in, not only on Next Gen, but even more so on Deep Space Nine and stuff. And you had Ezri coming in as a new host of the Dax symbiote and stuff and trying to fit in. There's a lot of personal stories in Star Trek over the years, but they still managed to tell Star Trek stories. And they also had fun, silly episodes too. But it wasn't, again, out of 9 episodes, I've only liked 4. And this one, I wouldn't say was trying to be funny. But again, I just feel like there wasn't a lot new here. So
maybe it would have been better if they named this and branded it.
Well, you got a bug on your ceiling, Mitch, that you're not looking at me while I'm talking?
I'm just sitting here, man.
I guess so.
Maybe they should have renamed it as a Star Trek CW.
Just sitting here. What?
Nothing?
I said I'm just sitting here.
We can't hear you, buddy.
I'm just sitting here.
Your sound's off. Are you swearing at me with this?
No, I think you're not hearing us.
Right here.
I don't know what happened, but we're not hearing you. You might want to, Mitch. You might want to sign out and come back in. Can you guys still talk? Can we hear you? Maybe it's me. Could be me. Yeah, sorry, guys. I apologize. Stand by. I'm going to leave and come back. I'll be back. Sorry. As you were. By all means, talk about me while I'm gone.
I was going to say, maybe they should just rename this as a Star Trek CW. The CW Star Trek, I thought.
I could see that.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just sitting there going, I'm just like, listening to you going,
Yeah, it was him. He had the audio problems.
No, it was me. Sorry.
Yeah.
That happens. It happened to me a couple times on the show the last few weeks. I don't know what happened. My apologies, guys, for my presumptions. So there you go. Who's like the third Doctor for Unit?
Oh, so she's like the third Doctor for Unit.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. That B Things wants to know, why would you want science in a science fiction show that requires brain? Yeah.
True.
Here I'm going to bring up what my buddy Canadian Yoko Chip said about continuity and canon. He said, choosing to make a prequel sets audience expectations. Aiming for an adult target audience sets audience expectations. Building on a franchise that started off specifically targeting the more educated and intelligent audience demographics sets certain audience expectations. This show fails to live up to those expectations, and it chose to set for itself. Had this gone the route of the Orville and created an original universe, it would have been more enjoyable. It's Franco obviously disagrees. It's part of a larger story, and it's below the established average on a script level. Another comment.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. Well, I wanted to talk about Peacemaker because now we're 3 episodes in. Have we all seen? Are we all caught up? Okay. I'll be honest, guys. I mean, I still like it, but there is just, and it's weird because comparing it to like The Boys, there's this like weird undercurrent of all these people are so miserable as characters that it's not pleasurable for me to watch it. I mean, I'm really like, I really had to struggle. Where things ended and my suspicions of where it's going will keep me watching. But man, I got to say, like the second and third episodes, it was like a slog because it's like, man, everybody on this show is damaged. And I don't know. Thoughts?
I think the only one that's not really damaged is Vigilante, because he's just his same self.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, like he's consistent in what he is. I think this one, it is looking at I was raised by a racist father who made me kill my brother. So the trauma's all now flowing out after he kills his father. And he's dealing with his own PTSD afterwards.
Yeah.
And then he explores this magical box. It's sort of like the closet in Narnia, where he goes, "Oh, it's a magical world." And then he finds out in a different dimension, my God, life is perfect. Where my life sucks. This life is perfect.
Right.
And he's having issues trying to deal with especially after killing himself. So,
well, his real world compared to this idyllic, dimension where he's a hero, he's respected. He's got the girl that he wants.
The girl,
and everything loves him. Yeah. I love that Joel, whatever his name is, Rick Flag Jr. was in episode 3 in the other dimension. I thought that was cool, and I like that Frank Grillo is gearing up to get Chris and everything.
I think it's hilarious that Eagly took out the entire crew. That is one kick-ass eagle, because there was like no holds bar. He took an eye out. He took a whole bunch of people out. That was like unbelievable. And then they're sending in like a SWAT team to go after this one eagle. And with Michael Rooker as the eagle hunter. Jeez,
You know what I heard yesterday when we were at lunch over at the All Yeah Comic Shop in Harrison, New York, on 212 Halstead Avenue. Is that what it is?
313 Halstead.
313, close enough. But you'll find it. I heard from somebody that we know that their theory is, what's his name? Robert Patrick's character, Robert, the father, that utopia, that world that he keeps going to visit, where the father, who's a racist fuck in the old show, is now like a hero here. You're going to find out in that dimension, Hitler won the damn World War II, and the whole world is one big friggin' Nazism, and that's the perfect, that he thinks it's the perfect world. But you're going to get the rug pulled under your feet, and you find out President Hitler's there, and they're all freaking Nazis. And I was like, well, if they do that, that would be a cool kind of, what was that show? The Philip K. Dick show, Man in the
Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, High Castle. Yeah. I was like, if they
do
do that,
season, and then kind of just went down from there. But
well, I was like, I'll give them that if they pull something like that out of left field. Like that would be a really shit ending, But
I wonder if Man in the High Castle or DC continuity, Earth X, Freedom Fighters.
That's right. Earth X was
and of course on the CW Flash shows and Green Arrow shows, they showed us that world and everything. No, again, that's exactly, Mitch. I didn't want to say, but it's fine because
you've heard that too. You've heard that.
Yeah, I heard it. And also, someone pointed out there in the other universe, there's a newspaper headline that the Terrific Trio or whatever, Chris's dad and brother, they were part of a superhero team, that they defeated the Rainbow villain. And it's like, Rainbow. Well, that's for LGBTQ. And that maybe even more so that it's a white supremacist world that, have we seen any? I don't think we've seen any other people of color in the other dimension. I'd have to go back and really pay attention to those episodes. But so what do you got? I mean, again, like I said, and I mean, The Boys is an uncomfortable show, but I accept it more from The Boys. So I don't know.
But it has its similarities. I think it has its similarities, but I think it's a lot more humor based. I find myself laughing a lot. Watching this, the whole eagle-y thing was hysterical, but just like the situations and the things that he says and does are funny to me, and everybody being miserable. The fallout from the last season where everybody was fired. You have to get through that to establish what's going on in the future shows. I think it's hysterical. I think it's really well done.
What was I going to say? What's the guy's name from Walking Dead that's the eagle killer in this?
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, Michael Rooker. Thank you. I remembered Michael. I couldn't think of Rooker. I loved when he's like, all right, so I get to kill an eagle, and I get to kill all the eagles, right?
All the eagles in the area.
When he goes, So yeah, and I love them. I think the music's hilarious, as heavy metal and hard as it is, and
I like the
everything.
Peacemaker cycle. It's like that Captain America motorcycle
Yes.
from the 1978 cheesy TV movies,
Red Brown, yeah,
Red Brown,
No,
that's right.
Totally.
But I love just the little lines like, "Why does my wardrobe look like it came from the Kardashians?"
Yeah. What's a Kardashian?
Yeah. Tim Meadows is great with the bird blindness. I'm like, what?
Oh,
Yeah, the duck.
I thought it was a
You
duck.
tell me you had a duck?
Told me it was a duck. But I mean, like this, see, this is like silly and outrageous in all the ways that Star Trek should be sometimes, I guess, but it's just not.
But it was established in the first season that this was
Right.
going to be a weird, goofy show, and also in Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, this is what this is. Buy into it or doesn't. And I absolutely understand the parents that took their kids to Superman. Well, we should be able to watch this. No, sorry, no.
Yeah.
I think there's room for both.
There's
And
a
there should
lot
be,
of boobs in other parts in Peacemaker.
Well, I also read that, however this season's going to wrap up, is going to dovetail into Superman 2.
Right.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I saw something James Gunn, like they announced that Man of Tomorrow is coming out in 27, and he's written the script already. So I was like, wow, that's like way to keep that under wraps and throw that out there.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God we're not waiting 5 years for a sequel. Like we did with the Star Trek JJ movies, for example. I mean, that's the thing. I was like, on the one hand, I'm glad Supergirl and everything else they're doing, but I'm like, how long is it going to take till we get to another Superman? But it's like, all right, cool, 2 years. That's cool. I'm for it. So there you go. Wayne, you want to tell us any more about Supernatural?
I'm trying to think. What was for me, it was a typical Supernatural convention, nothing really different. Unfortunately, I'm getting a lot tired now, so I can't really jump into the karaoke stuff or the concert stuff. But from what I've heard from other people, the stuff was amazing. Jensen Ackles today, at the end of the panel, started to sing "Eye of the Tiger." So
They have the actors do a concert?
yeah, there's a band called Loud and Swain that Rob Benedict is a lead singer for. He played God. He played Chuck on Supernatural. So, and what happens is at the concert is they'll play, and then certain actors will come out and also sing with the band.
Oh.
Like the concerts I've seen in the past, Emily Swallow, who's she played Darkness, and she was she's the armorer.
Yeah, on Mandalorian.
Yeah. In Mandalorian, amazing voice, superb.
Oh, wow.
Lisa Berry, who was deaf, who replaced Julian Richings, who was deaf. Amazing voice. Like what they'll do is they'll integrate the Loud and Swain people with the actors that are here at the convention if they want to sing, and that's the Saturday night concert, which is amazing. The ones I've seen in the past are amazing. Sorry.
Did Kira sing when not visiting?
No, she was sick. We had Chase Masterson when she was here a couple years ago. She sang. She had a concert.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a shame that you didn't get Jimmy Darren to do a Vic Fontaine.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too late.
Wayne got a celebrity photo, of course. Here we go with Wayne and Felicia Day.
Yeah.
And she was on Supernatural as well?
Yeah, she played Charlie.
Okay.
She was a hunter. And I wore my Free Comic Book Day t-shirt.
Yes, he did. There it is.
That I got at the Chicago store.
Oh.
Because I spent
that was awesome.
What, sorry?
Did you go by the store?
Yeah, I was there with Artie for a couple of hours.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent.
And I picked up some books and everything.
Very cool.
And Franco, you had a big signing at the store on Saturday?
Yeah, we had Joe Kelly come by, and the line was the entire 2 hours that he was there. He had a line. We went to dinner afterwards. Mitch came along as well, and it was very fun.
Chris
Yeah.
Giarusso was there, and Jacob Chabot.
So it was just a real fun afternoon.
Nice.
It was really good. And also since I'm here, and I'm gonna plug this coming Tuesday. I have this happening. The Greatest Little Luchador Ever is launching on Kickstarter on Tuesday. So about Tuesday around noon, it's going to be launching. So if you want to check it out, we got some cool stuff up there. So check it out. It's Greatest Little Luchador.
There you go. Absolutely. It's it's fun. I've read it, and it's a lot of fun. Franco did a word balloon with me on Friday talking about the book, and also a couple other future projects coming up. And also we're a couple months away from your latest Flash Gordon for Mad Cave, right? And or is it Mad Cave?
And coming out the same day, November 4th, and we're going to be having a signing in New York on the 22nd, and possibly something in Skokie, but that's still being worked on.
Gotcha. That's cool. What else? Oh, of course, again, tomorrow is Star Trek Day, everybody. It was back in 1966 on September 8th when Star Trek premiered with The Man Trapped. And in honor of that, Monday, we're getting this, finally, Star Trek Con with Nassim, I forget his last name, the gentleman from Lost, who was Saeed in Lost playing Khan. And I forget everybody's name. The woman. No.
Sorry.
He wasn't Ash.
Oh, no.
Different actor. My point is,
sorry.
The woman that plays Lieutenant Marla McGivers from this new version is the woman from For All Mankind. That is the Soviet the woman that defects to the Soviets and everything. And I'm interested. I got to be honest. We'll see. Wayne and I were talking a little bit about the trailer. Did you guys have a chance to listen at all to the trailer for Con?
I hear the trailer. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Sulu sounds really old in it. He sounds like that breathy Adam West sound that he had before he passed away when he was doing those Batman cartoons, and you heard that like.
Interesting.
So, it's distracting. It's distracting because it's
is it some of the original actors?
Well,
yeah, George Takei's in it, so I know that.
And so is Tim Russ, Tuvok. It basically takes place after Star Trek VI, and if you remember in Voyager, they had that flashback episode where you found that Tuvok was on Excelsior during the events of when Praxis, the Klingon moon, blew up. He's a crew member and everything. And there's a historian on the Excelsior that wants to go back and re-examine what happened on SETI Alpha 5. Say it, Franco.
Yes, it's SETI Alpha 5. Sorry.
Indeed. Yes. And but we'll see. I mean, it's I felt like a little overacting, but man, I wish they had been doing this for years as far as the audio, because this is a chance for Walter Koenig and George Takei and other former Star Trek actors to come back and just do stuff. Did you guys ever hear during COVID, Bashir, I forget who wrote it, but Bashir did like a multi-part thing where Quark, Kira, and Jake were all and Garrick and Dr. Bashir were all like in this like little adventure and stuff. And it was video, but it was them just kind of reading dialogue and stuff, and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. So, and this is written by
Nicholas Meyer.
Thank you, Nicholas Meyer, absolutely. And was supposed to be a live action thing. I'm glad we're finally getting it, but we'll see. So,
it goes back to like the old cassettes that I used to get of the novelizations of the audio books of the novels.
Yeah, audio.
That Takei or I think Jimmy Doohan. Yeah, Nimoy would do like a guest. He would just do guest appearances where someone else would narrate it. Yeah, no, it's cool. I like that stuff.
Me too.
It's like the oh God, what was it? It wasn't PBS.
Oh, NPR did the national.
NPR did the Star Wars trilogy, which was really good. It
was amazing.
Well,
No, and that's kind of what I'm open for.
first two.
Did I send you guys that video of the them doing a stage production of Star Wars, and they had Clancy Brown as the voice of Darth Vader?
Yeah.
And that was amazing. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I bet that'd be great. Oh, he'd be an amazing Vader. That's cool. Brock Peters.
It was kind of like a thing for charity, and people were laughing and stuff like that. But like when, you could hear the audience like gasp when he does, when he says his line. It's like, oh, cool. Sure. He would have been a cool Darth Vader audio wise. Yeah.
Well, and in the NPR Star Wars, Brock Peters, who was Sisko's dad, was a great. And Perry King was a good Han Solo.
Perry King was on it.
And I thought, and it was Hamill, right? Hamill really,
Hamill did it. Yep, and then
Billy D. Williams.
Yep. Anthony Daniels was on as 3PO.
Right.
Yeah, Ed Asner was Jabba the Hutt, which was weird.
Who was Jabba?
Ed Asner was Jabba the Hutt, and the Return of the Jedi one. Yeah, but the Return of the Jedi one is horrible because it's not an NPR production. Because what happened is Hamill got mad at NPR because he found out they were selling the shows because he did it for no money, and then years later they said, and I have the cassettes and then the CDs CDs.
Yeah, me too.
And then he was like, what the hell? And then they go, you want to come back for Return of the Jedi? He's like, no, I'm not doing this. This was supposed to help public radio, and you guys are making profit on this.
Wow.
So they got a different kid to do it. And then who is, and even Billy D. Williams didn't come back. It's a truncated Return of the Jedi. They did it, but it's not as long as the other shows were, but it's not as good as it. But Perry King was on it, and Sachs was Princess Leia. Brock Peters showed up as Vader, but it's not that good. No.
Okay.
Ed Begley Jr. was Boba Fett.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Odd. Yeah.
Another great Star Trek guest star on the 2-part Voyager and everything. I saw on Facebook, Wade said that there's going to be a new audio adaptation of Kingdom Come that he's very excited about. And apparently they put some decent muscle and money into it and everything. And I'm glad to hear that because I liked the graphic audio version. He apparently was not a fan of it, but I had those cassettes. They were okay.
Yep, I got those. Nightfall, and they did the Death of Superman too, didn't they?
Yeah,
they did a Spider-Man story too. Or if not them, maybe BBC did it. But I know there's an audio from the 90s or early 2000s of a Spider-Man story as well.
Oh.
And I was going to say too, regarding with Khan and everything, I just literally today, there is a channel, and I don't remember the name of it, but a lot of the Star Trek novels from the 70s, Spock Messiah, Spock Must Die, some of these others, this guy made audio narrative of it, and he's using AI, but it sounds like Shatner. It sounds like DeForest Kelley. They even did the at least the first volume of Star Trek: The New Voyages, and every chapter is read by a voice, like the person that does the intro and all the acknowledgments before they get to the first story. It sounds like Mark Leonard, Sarek, and I heard a chapter that sounded like Majel Barrett.
How long before he gets sued?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I think he just put it up as a fan thing, and as long as you're not making money from it, I think you're okay. In fact, somebody put up in the chat that here it is. Doc Civil says they should just run Star Trek Continues on Paramount Plus with the condition that Vic Mignogna and crew don't get paid anything, but they're allowed to do their fan series. Well, they did, and they did 10 or 13 episodes, and it's up. The Paramount hasn't yanked it down, and James Cawley's Star Trek Continues; those are still up. So fine,
Interesting.
All right, that's it. We can wrap, boys, if there's nothing else.
Oh no! I'm just thinking of the whole AI thing and that, and just
sure.
Man, it's changing. Everything's changing so fast.
There's a really good one that it was called Fallen Friend, and I think I've talked about it on the show before, where a guy, because this is what you can do now with deep fakes. He put in DeForest Kelley's voice, he put in Leonard Nimoy's voice, and it's them at a bar commiserating losing Kirk. And they don't know that he went to the Nexus and everything that happens in Generation. They're just dealing with Kirk being dead. And for a fan production, it was fun. It was like 15 minutes long, 10 minutes long, something like that. But it was a really good conversation between Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley. It was pretty good. So again, what are you gonna do? Same with the Otoe video, where the guy from Galactica and was Doomsday on Smallville. Sam
Witwer.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah. I think that was for what it was, and the guy who played Spock certainly looked proper. Looked like Spock.
Yeah.
Someone asked if Alien Earth. You still watching Alien Earth?
It goes back to what was happening. No, it goes back to what happened at Fan Expo this year in Toronto, where you had Artist Alley at one end, and then Bell Canada set up an AI photo booth at the other end.
I heard that.
Yeah,
and it was just
chaos.
It was just wrong. Yes.
Sure.
It just, I don't know. It's just like you said. This episode could have been GPT.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So feed in, garbage out.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So yeah, no, it's just I don't know. It's just this technology thing is just sort of scary.
True.
Foundation is good. I can say that. The latest episode is really good. I honestly don't remember how far it's straying from the novels, but they're telling a good story.
Is it harder
interesting?
Sci-fi? Is it harder sci-fi?
Oh, it's hard sci-fi. Yeah, it's definitely harder sci-fi.
Okay.
Than what Strange New Worlds is. Yeah, definitely. Alien Earth. Wow.
Yeah, it's more like Blade Runner.
It's really what?
Yeah.
More like Blade Runner than Aliens, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has that Blade Runner feel. I'll give you that.
With the kids, the sick kids being implanted in androids or whatever they call them there.
Yeah. Not stimulant. Simulants.
Yeah, instead of replicants. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of replicants. Yeah, and it's and the end of this last week's episode is just like, huh?
Yeah.
It just again, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that has not watched it, but if you are a fan of Alien, in any genre, this is a different approach to what the xenomorphs are.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was here in Chicago, I watched they had Prometheus and Covenant on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know. I watched those and I'm just going, wow. And then you watch Alien Earth and going, oh, okay, I could see this now, what they're trying to do. And it really makes sense. And it's hard to try to explain it without spoiling it. That's the problem, because there's, especially with the lead character and her connections to the xenomorphs, is really interesting because we've never seen that in any of the movies. Maybe Alien 4, but that's because the Sigourney Weaver character was basically a clone infused with genetic material from the xenomorphs.
Yep.
And so, but this one's not it's not that, but it's just it's an interesting idea. Again, without you guys watching it, I really wanted you, like, if you're not going to watch it, fine, you don't have to watch it, but to have a conversation about it, you really got to get into, okay, why did they go down this route? Why are they using Peter Pan to help out? To really use as almost a base to build all the story from is this Peter Pan aspect with the boy genius, with these lost kids, literally lost kids, and it's interesting, especially the lead character and how she's different than the other lost kids because she was the first, and that's Again, I hate. I just don't want to spoil it. I'm enjoying it.
I'm not asking you to spoil it. I
Yeah,
just want to
yeah.
know. Are you enjoying it? And
Yeah,
you know,
I'm enjoying it. Sorry, I'm enjoying it. It's just
No,
trying to
it's all
not.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to spoil it because it's just going.
No.
It's such a different take on Alien, the concept of
Cool.
Alien, the xenomorphs, and
Hey,
I love corporate greed. My God, to have the corporations try to mess over each other with these different types of aliens that Wayland Jumanji, I like to say Jumanji. It's Yamada. Yeah, well, the
Yamada.
corporation. Yeah, it's just it reminds me so much of Rollerball. how the world has changed, that we're no longer political nations. What we are corporate nations.
yes.
And we've split up the world. Not only did we split up the world, we split up the universe. And how they're trying to get at each other, and especially when the boy genius says, "I don't want to wake up with a xenomorph popping out of my stomach," and like that's how serious this corporate espionage between all these different corporations is that. Yeah, well, I think we know how we can take the other corporations down. We'll just find some type of alien monster and just take out the head honchos of it. It's just, I don't know. It's just cool. But you're right. The Blade Runner aspect is, definitely the Blade Runner aspect is there with dealing with artificial life. And does it have a soul? What is life in general? And can we actually transfer our soul or our essence from this corporal body into something else?
Right.
And all the problems that are associated with it. Like with the again, like, and even with the Foundation talks about the robot revolution.
There you go. That's cool.
So,
corporations taking over is something that Greg Rucka is playing with in Lazarus. And Greg will be on tomorrow night on Word Balloon, and not only talking about Lazarus, but also he's on the final arc of Lazarus, but also his Cheshire and Cheetah rob the Justice League story that is on issue 2. I mean, pretty good story. Good story.
South Park finally dropped another episode. My God, these 2 weeks wait is just killing me.
I know.
And the social commentary on like Beanie Babies, Cabbage Patch Kids, that whole aspect that you get so wrapped around this one little pop icon thing, and then it leads to
aren't the new things that everybody's into, the Lulu whatever?
It's something like that. It's something like that, but it's what it leads to. And if you haven't seen the episode, again, I'm not going to spoil this one. This one you have to watch because it is without a doubt blows your mind when what's his name? Oh my God. Blonde hair.
Owen Wilson?
No, the character from South Park.
Tweak or
Tweak. I think it's Tweak. Tweak. So this girl goes up to Tweak and says, "Hey, I want this specific thing for my birthday." And then you see what she uses.
Butters. Might be Butters.
Butters. No, you're right. It's not Tweak because Tweak would be all messed up and he's hooked up with the other guy. No, it's Butters, and City Walk doesn't exist anymore. It just, God, it is. And then you have. I am so sorry you guys haven't seen it because I was in my room laughing at every freaking thing that was coming out. These guys, I don't know, this season, without a doubt, has hit. There's been 3 episodes?
Yes.
4 episodes. 4 episodes. And they are just in, I don't know. It's just like it's revitalized itself somehow.
Yes.
Maybe they need these 2 weeks in between, or whatever the creative process is. I don't know what it is, but what this episode does with those little dolls is hilarious.
I suspect that they are stretching it out because they seen the buzz of the first episode, and it's like it's the problem with releasing everything all at once, where there's like a 3-day buzz when it's brand new, and then out of sight, out of mind. And it's so funny how these streamers, and I know that it's on Comedy Central and everything as well, and then really first and foremost, but it's like they suddenly are deep, something, the old formula of television and maybe making people wait days between episodes might actually be a good idea because more people are talking about it and are anticipating the next episode. I mean, I'm a little behind, but I've caught the Trump Satan relationship portion of the shows, and it's funny. And again,
but also that's not how they create the show. They're very topical. They're creating the show only a couple of weeks before it airs.
Yes, because they can juke with current events, just an episode to reflect that. Absolutely, yes. Yeah. No, I'm thrilled, and it flies in the face of we fired Colbert. And what's going on? And it's like, well, you're letting South Park for $1 billion a year for 5 years do what they want. And if there's any sort of that's too far, we got to pull it. There's going to be a big price tag if they pull it, and they don't make it through the 5 years. But I have a feeling they likely will. So yes, Stanley is right. Wayne is on top of all pop culture. That is true.
No, I'm not on. It's just I just really want to watch South Park. And for me to get Paramount Plus so that I can watch Star Trek and South Park, especially South Park, because we don't get it anymore up north. The only way we can get it is through Paramount. And I caught up in all the seasons, which was nice. But like I said, this season, for whatever reason, it's just off the rails. Funny.
Well, hang on to it because Tulsa King's coming back. And if you haven't seen Tulsa King, catch up with it because it's an excellent show.
That one, I watched it. I'll be honest.
Didn't
not
like
interested.
It?
No.
Okay.
I think it's well written. I just watched the first episode and going, it's not for me.
I hear you. Landman is really good. The Billy Bob show with Ali Leiter. The Irish mob story with Pierce Brosnan.
Mobland.
And Tom Hyder. Yep.
I really like that one.
No, I honestly, very quietly, Paramount has like several really good streamers. So beyond Star Trek, I'm happy to have it and stuff.
Yeah.
So anything else that you guys have seen that you want to mention, or we can wrap up?
No, I'm glad I was able to catch up to the stuff I was supposed to.
Me too.
I think I said Sinners last week.
Say it again.
I think I said Sinners last week, which was really good.
You did mention
the movie.
Sinners last week.
Yeah, it was.
And that's on HBO. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, one more episode of Strange New Worlds, and then our long suffering night will be over. But Con is going to continue, and like I said, maybe we will continue to check in monthly about other shows if you want to. It's up to you guys. But I will continue to monitor Star Trek, and I will be doing the Con episodes. We'll at least if you guys want, you don't have to. It's kind of like what Wayne just did with Aliens and everything. If you want to, watch the first episode of Star Trek or listen to the first episode of Star Trek on, I will, and we'll see. But we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.